Hello, everybody. Hello, and good afternoon. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. My name is Bella Ralston. On behalf of Faber-Castell USA and Michael Stores, would like to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. Hello, and I am broadcasting live from Texas. So howdy, y'all. Hello, everybody. Hi, Lakita. I'd love to know where everybody's joining us from. I'd like to say hello. And also, I would like to know if you are a mom. So please leave in the chat, mom, so I can make sure to greet you. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day is this weekend. So to all the mommies over there, joining us this afternoon. Happy Mother's Day in advance. So I am a mom of three beautiful kids. My youngest is turning 13 this month. I don't know. I don't want this. I can't go through this. My oldest is 22. So she was so happy because they just bought a new home. And so my middle is a boy. So I have a middle child as a boy. He's 16. So he's a young man, and the youngest is 13. So thank you for joining us, to all the mommies in here. Hello, everybody. And if you're watching this on YouTube on a replay, would like to send my love. Happy Mother's Day to you as well, if you're a mother. Okay, so this afternoon, we are going to be doing some lettering. Exciting. So Miriam says she's a grandma. Hello, New York. Hi, Arizona. Hello, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Hi, Mary. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Jackie. Hello. All right. So brush lettering. I have been doing brush lettering for the last two, my daughter's turning 13 for 11 years. And this was the first craft that I wanted to learn. So I am a singer. I've been performing my whole life. And then after my youngest daughter was born, I stopped performing. And then I needed a craft because I'm an artist. So I needed something as an outlet. And it was for my sanity. I needed something to do. And I have never been blessed with a gift of art. I was blessed with a gift of music. But when it comes to something creating with my hands, I was just never good at that. Even growing up, I mean, I've always kept a journal. But when it comes to doodling and art and all those fine art, it was just not for me. But I knew 10 years ago I needed an outlet. And so I said, okay, I need something to do. I need something to learn. And then I saw this beautiful lettering on social media, Pinterest, I believe, it was very big then. And then YouTube. And so I'm like, I want to learn that. So if you are someone that wants to learn brush lettering also, I will tell you that I have used this skill for many, many, many different things. At first, it was a hobby, and I turned it into a business, a small business. I started designing stationaries, and now I'm designing more stationary products and turning them for other companies as well. So a hobby turned into a business. It is possible. And if you tell me that you're not an artist, I was not an artist as well. So if I did it, you can do it too. But there's a but in there. It sounds like an ancient, it's like a home shopping network, but it's not done. It takes practice. Okay. So you might not leave this class today, kind of like, oh, look at me, I'm an expert. It's not going to happen today unless you've been doing this for 10 years. Also, if this is going to be your first time doing it, I promise you it's a little frustrating, especially using brush pens, because brush pens are fabulous tools, but they can be really tricky. And speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about materials. I will be using Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer watercolor marker. All right. So these are the colors that I've picked. We have a brown, pink, this is dark chrome yellow. Yes, dark chrome yellow. So orange, yellow, orange, and then an earth green. So as you can see, very limited in colors. And I will explain why it's important to have a color palette as well. If you printed your handout, if you have a graphite sheet, you can transfer it. But if you want to go sketch this whole quote with me from the basic, from scratch, let's do that. It's going to be easy. I promise you. I will be using a watercolor paper since we're going to be working with some water today. So if you have a watercolor paper, a mixed media paper, so anything that can hold water, so has to have a little bit of weight, okay? So that's what I have. And then brushes. Let's talk a little bit about brushes. I have very, very thin brushes in here. I'm not going to be using the very thin one. This is a spotter. I use it for details when I'm doing some illustrations. But for lettering, I love using the number 2, number 4, even up to number 6 round brush. Okay. Then I have this dish right here. It's so cute. I think I got it somewhere, maybe TJ Maxx or Home Goods. But this is what I use as an artist palette because of those white little things. I mean, they're nice, but the heart is much better. So it's just, a tile. If you have a plastic, that will work. So any very smooth surface, actually, if you have any like old plastic wrapper, that's going to work also as a blending palette. These are watercolor markers. Let's just swatch them so you can see it. When you see, there's some that are water-based dye inks. This Albrecht Durer watercolor markers are different. These are not dye inks. These are pure pigments. And I'm going to go adjust our brightness here. So that's much better. These are watercolor pigments in a marker form. So you can use it as a regular marker like this. Just that. Or you can use it as a watercolor. I'm going to grab some water in here. And it will react to water. And then you can start blending using them like that. That one is a dark chrome yellow. This is the middle purple pink. It has dual ends. One is like 2.0 millimeter, maybe 1.5. And then the other one is brush tip. Okay, so it's a dual ended marker. And then you can blend it in a palette like this. You can blend it after you apply it on the paper, like how you would play around with watercolors. So you can create your own blends, like a yellow here. I'll add a little bit of that earth green. Let's see that kind of blend are we going to get. And of course, if you will use them directly, like a marker, you will really get that full saturation, that really full colors. But once water touch it, once you blend it with water, the saturation will be a little less. Okay, so you'll get it. The colors are lighter. And also watercolor, what do we know about watercolor? Watercolor is supposed to be translucent, supposed to be transparent, right? So they're not opaque like an acrylic. And that's why I love using watercolors, is because honestly, you can play around with layers. You can add layers after layers. It gets tricky, but it's always fun to play around with different mediums. Okay, so I'm just going to swatch them real quick so you can see the colors. If you don't have these materials that I'm using today, it's okay. You might have just regular watercolor. That works as well. Or if you're using other markers, that works as well. If you have any questions during the class, you may use the chat section down there, and I'll try my hardest to answer you. I also have the PITT Artist Pen in gold because this is beautiful. So we'll use it to just add some accent, maybe some drop shadow. So brush lettering. Brush lettering is just another type of hand lettering. So those are the things. Sometimes it's confusing because you go online and there's like brush lettering, there's mono lettering, but it really is just hand lettering. Hand lettering is the art of drawing your letters. So handwriting and hand lettering are two different things. Handwriting is when you don't lift your marker. See, I cannot even, my brain is not working. I love to write in print. So that's handwriting. This can be handwriting also, but I think in Europe they call it printing, something like that. But when I'm doing, that's my regular handwriting. I promise you, when I'm like writing documents or, writing something at the bank. But when I'm doing hand lettering, this is when you're taking your time to draw the letters one by one. Notice how I'm lifting that marker off that page, right? And I do it one letter at a time. I think that's one of the common mistake that I see with newbies is that they're not lifting their pen. It's very important to understand that you lift your pen. You don't just glide and finish this. Even if I used the brush pen, notice, look at that. You can't, because what happens is that you cannot play around with the amount of pressure you're applying using your brushed pen. It's all about that pressure. And is it everybody here mature enough to hear some of my puns today? But really, when you're learning brush lettering, it's about the pressure and the strokes that you're going to use to apply your brush pens. But today, we're not going to be using the brush pens directly. We're going to be using them as watercolors. We're going to apply it here in our dish, and we're going to use the round brush to pick up that color to create our beautiful illustration and beautiful hand lettering. So the most important thing to start with is start with a sketch. Start with your idea. Okay, so like what I said, if you have a graphite sheet, you can use it and transfer this one. So you can have everything, the composition is perfect. You don't have to go through the erasing and all that. But I think it's fun to understand how you can compose a quote like this. So you are the world's best mom. That's what I want. If you don't have a graphite sheet, but you have a graphite pencil, what you can do is use the graphite pencil, apply it on the back of the page of that handout or the printout like this. Make sure to cover that whole area where the quote is. So I like to share with you some tricks so you don't have to keep buying some graphite sheet. This is a jumbo pencil from Faber-Castell. This is the 8B, so it's super black and super dark, like that. I'm just going to use this one. And then you can go over the lettering just as how you would do it when you're tracing something. Like this. Okay, so I can just show you. So you're going to transfer that to your watercolor paper, because we need to use a watercolor paper or a mixed media paper, okay? All right, so let's get started with our sketching. I don't really typically use anything more than the HB or a 2B when it comes to sketching, because graphite can be a little pain in the butt to erase also. But sometimes the camera is having a hard time picking up my sketch. But maybe if I turn down the brightness a little bit, and then I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can see. So you are the world's best mom. Another tip that I'd like to share with you is when you're working with a composition, for example, you have a note and say, "You are so beautiful." Break it down in thumbnails. Thumbnails is making a square, making it a rectangle. For example, this is your paper, right? So make small rectangles like that. And then you can work on your ideas in this small area. Say you are, so you can break down every single word. So you are the world's best mom. We can say, you can just letter in, you are, maybe you want the word the. World's best mom. Okay, I don't like that very much. So maybe I'll have you are together the world's, I'll have the word best also like that. And then the word mom would be big. I like this one. So, but that's how you can break down an idea. Okay, maybe that was too far. See, thumbnail really helps. Just, I think what helps a lot with me when I'm working with thumbnails is that I don't have to use the whole paper. First of all, I'm not, using and wasting a lot. If I do thumbnail, at least I can have just that main idea of how I would like the composition to look in my paper, on my paper, on the page. All right, so, okay, let me erase again. So I like that. We have the word you are. Find the middle. I want this centered. So you, and then I'm working now with big. You are, the word the is in print. World's script. Right? Best. I want this in print as well. And then the word mom is in script also, and slightly larger to fill the space. You start with a sketch like this. One thing to understand, remember I said about strokes. With brush lettering, there are two different strokes. Notice the sketch here, okay? So we'll just work with a sketch. There's some thin and then thick, right? So thin strokes and thick strokes. So even if we're using, I'm gonna use this one. Even if we're using the round brush, which is probably even harder than the marker itself, because the round brush, I want you to play around with it first. Get a scratch paper, please, if you would. And I want you to play around with your brush. Let's make some swirls, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down. Now notice my up and down and up and down. Every time you would write, if anytime you would write away from your body, this is your upstroke, okay? Upstroke is where you would apply very light pressure, right? Your downstroke, or whenever you're writing towards you, this is the downstroke. And this is where you're going to apply heavy pressure, right? So play around with this. Notice how thin my upstroke is, because that is where I applied very light pressure. I'm going to repeat that. Upstroke, light pressure, downstroke, heavy pressure. Upstroke, light, and using the tip of the marker or the brush and apply some pressure and use the whole body, all right? I'm gonna go do that again. I'll use a different angle so you guys can see that brush. Okay, so let's do it this way. Right. So again, upstroke, light pressure, go easy and use the tip of the marker. Tip and light pressure. Now play around and apply some pressure in here. Pressure, see how I'm bending that brush? Okay, and then go light again. So don't be afraid. I think what happens is that if you feel like there's not very big variation, you don't have big difference from your thin and your thick or your upstroke and your downstroke, it could be you're not going light enough or you're not going hard enough on your pressure. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to go the opposite. I'll start with the downstroke. Downstroke, heavy pressure, and then go light and use the tip of the marker. All right, I'll do that again. Downstroke, heavy, upstroke, light. And you don't have to worry about writing the whole word, because remember, when you're doing hand lettering, you're not writing the whole quote or the whole word. Did I say word? Word. I got confused. You're not writing the whole word. Yikes. English is my second language, just so everybody knows. All right, here we go. Let's write the word love. Upstroke light, heavy going down, upstroke light. I'll stop in there and then I'll do the letter O. Okay. Downstroke heavy, go ease up on that pressure. O. I'll bring this down. Okay. And then this one. So every time you would write a connecting line is, or connecting stroke is kind of like this letter O, or this end or the tail of the letter L. Understand your whole, picture your whole word. Picture the whole word in your head. So you have the word love. All of these, this is your end stroke or your connecting stroke. I'm going to write the letter O, and that's my connecting stroke. This is where I'm going to add the letter V, finish it, and I'll add the exit stroke also. And then I'll add letter E, and then that was it. So every time you would do your exit stroke, it would be thin. So every time you would write anything horizontal, like a crossbar for the letter T, that would be thin as well, right? So the only thick line should be your downstroke, or any time that you would write towards your body. Okay, so we've covered the basic. And if you want to learn more in depth of the brush lettering, I am going to be creating one for the month of July. I did something last year, but I think we have to update that class. So watch out for a class on July, and we're going to do some brush lettering class as well. Okay, so look at that, because the back of my sheet has some pastels. All right, so I have the basic composition. Now I'm going to go erase it. As long as I have my guide, I know where the words are going to be, the letters are. Now I just have to work one by one to create the beautiful lettering. So I'm going to clean this out. I'm just using a paper towel. Have a paper towel on the side just in case you kind of like dip in your water a little too much and you have too much water in your brush. If you're using a water brush, it's important to understand how much water it actually push, because this one automatically spills out some water when you're using a water brush like that. If you're going to use a regular round brush, you might have to dip a little bit more than usual, just because sometimes if the colors are not gliding well enough or not blending well enough, that means your brush needs more water. Okay, so for the lettering, I'm going to use the brown color. We're going to use all these fun colors later as an embellishment. We're going to create some beautiful florals that we've been doing since we were in middle school or even in elementary. Okay, so I'm going to use a dark sepia. Just going to apply it here. If you want to use this directly, you can do so. Please feel free to do that. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing right now. If you want to use the marker directly, if you want more like saturated color, you want that vibrancy, the full vibrancy of the markers, then please feel free to do that. The way you're going to use the brush markers are the same way that you're going to use applying when using your brush. So the same, light going up, heavy going down, light going up, heavy going down. All right. Okay. So I'm going to apply and drop in a little bit of water. If you have some water spray like this one, you can use this also just to kind of like wet your palette, so you don't have to keep dipping in here. And this way you can get all those pigment activated. All right, so we'll start with the word you. Again, we're going to tackle this one letter at a time, okay? Oh, okay, here we go. Letter U. Going light using the tip of the marker and then apply a bit of pressure. Okay. And here's what I want you to do. If you feel like, oh, that's not thick enough, please don't worry about it yet. We're going to add more width to that stroke later. You can always come back in. As long as we have our base, we have laid out the first layer, we can always come back in and add extra width or extra thickness to some strokes that you think is not thick enough. What I want you to focus on is the thin, because we want to have that variation from the thin and the thick line. Because if you want to keep adding thickness and it's not balanced all throughout the letters, it might look a little funky. So I want you to just focus on writing the whole quote, this whole composition right here. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm just going easy on the light because that is the one that feels the most unnatural to me. Because what feels natural to me is my heavy pressure, because I naturally write heavy. And so I have to pay attention and be more mindful every time I would go up and would apply light pressure, because that one does not feel natural. It's like, ooh, it's always so hard to do the light pressure. Here we go. A, going up. And sometimes when I'm doing like lettering like this, I am so quiet because I am just so focused. And that's where I know I am having fun. Okay, not 100% of the time. Sometimes I get frustrating. All right, okay, here we go. So you are now the word the. And also, if you did your sketch and you feel like, look at it and you feel like, you know what, I can adjust the word the, like with me, as you can see, it's so close to the top, right? My word the, let me adjust mine. So maybe you can see much better. So if you notice here, my sketch of the word the is a little bit too on the top. I can move that around and adjust it and bring it down just a little bit. So please do not be married to your first sketch. If you need to do a little bit of adjustment, then please feel free to do that. All right. So I'm going to go in and adjust the word the, maybe bring it down just a little bit. There we go. There. And it's much better to work from the top to the bottom because you will avoid doing any smudging with your hands. So it's always best to work from top to bottom. And also this will dry. And look how lighter the letter Y already is because it's already getting dry. Okay, I'm just going to bring down some of the pigments, bring it down. Okay. The worlds. So I'm using the tip of that brush and bend it down just a little bit and go straight up again. And notice also how I'm holding my brush. This is very important. I apologize. I totally missed this one. So we don't write or we don't do our hand lettering like this. Notice how my hand is like almost 45-degree angle, right? So it's not like this, not upside down, but it's like this. So it's important, even though you're holding it, your brush this way, some I've seen this way, some I've seen this way. I hold it here, I think in the middle of my middle finger and my pointer, like that. I feel like this is the best one that gives me enough control. So as long as your brush is slanted or angled and not upside down, I'll just show you real quick what it's going to look like. So even if you apply pressure like this. And I'm applying pressure. I'll do that again on the side so you can see, right? But I'm holding my brush upside down, up, light, like that, right? Pressure. And I'm gonna go sideways. Now it's angled, going up, going down. See how that is much, much better and is much more controlled. The stroke is cleaner, up and then down. So you can use your brush tip much better when it is angled instead of upside down. So hold it like this, using the tip and then using the brush pen and applying pressure so you can use the belly or that body of the brush. Here we go. Okay. Just dipping some water and moving my pigments. Just adding a bit more. All right, letter W. Whew. It's like holding my breath every time I go up. Okay. That going down or that heavy pressure is just easy, no problem. Don't even have to think about it. But the going light, my hands are like shaking. Going. Also play around with the amount of water you're using. Maybe you're using too much. And what's going to happen is that you're going to end up with a puddle. So it's all about that ratio of water and then ink also. And that's something that only you can really figure out because I don't know how much paint you're really picking up or how much pigment from the marker or your watercolor. So play around with that ratio. Make sure that it's not too thick. And if you're having a hard time gliding or blending the pigment and the color, it means that you don't have enough water. But if you're ending up with a pool of water when it's like super wet, that means you're using too much water. So I hope that that makes sense. All right. So the word best is kind of like the word the. I can make some adjustment in here. So I am going to do that. That. I'm adjusting it and adding a bit height, a bit more of height to it. Like that. Okay. I feel like now I can use a little bit more pigments. So I'm gonna, squeaky. And then I will use my spray again to kind of spray a little bit more water so we can wet them. There. See that ratio? It's not so watery. It's just enough to activate those pigments. Okay. All right. Okay. Just that. Going up. Ooh, that might have been too thick. Oh, it's okay. Sometimes when I get too cocky and too confident, that's what happens. I'm like, I got this. And then everything just mess up. All right, calm down. Here we go. Add a bit more. Okay. See how I'm doing it one stroke at a time? It's not even one letter at a time. It's one stroke at a time. So I added this first, then I added that. I started with this one and I went up and then added this one. I paused, I added this one and then go straight to the top. So it's one stroke at a time, not one letter at a time, one stroke at a time, okay? So I'm gonna clean my dish or my palette here. Now, this part right here, remember I said if I don't want you to focus too much on the pressure, if you feel like you don't have, you cannot see a difference from your thin and your thick line, this is where you can come back in and add some extra thickness to some area that you feel like needs more thickness, all right? So I feel like I can add a little bit more thickness to my letter Y in here, but the first line, the words you are, they're all balanced in thickness. But if in what you created in there, you feel like with your downstrokes, you can add a little bit more thickness to really highlight parts of your thin, you can do that, right? Just be very careful. But if you feel like it is good enough, you know what? Just let it be. Be gentle with yourself. That is something that I always like to remind you, because it is something that I always remind myself also. Ooh, that is not dry yet. Okay, let's add that to the list of things to remind you. If this is not completely dry, don't erase your sketch. Okay, but mine is, it's okay. All right, you are the world's best mom. Yes, I am. You are too. Okay, here we go. We can just use the markers directly to add some florals in here, but I'm afraid that if used directly onto the paper, what's going to happen is they're going to be super vibrant. They're going to be much vibrant than the brown one because this was blended with water. So let's try one so we can see, right? Because this is how you play around. This is how you know things. It's when you try it. I'm going to draw a small flower. And this is just a regular flower. Don't overthink this flower. You've been doing this since you were little, creating beautiful florals. Start with a middle circle. Really add your petals, right? Just add like that. What you can do is apply that. Grab your brush, dip it in water. This time, make sure that there's not a lot of water in there. And then I'm just going to start blending. Okay. Blend. There should be a song about blending. There's not. It's an opportunity. It's a window of opportunity there. So you can still get the, blended right there. Looks like watercolor, but I'm going to add one when it's from the palette. So I'm going to add a little bit of water in here so we can see really how much difference there is from one applied directly into the paper and then one blended with some water. And then I'll start with just adding my petals. Oops, I'm such a mess. Right now, because it is still wet, so it looks like it has the same vibrancy, but I wonder how much different it will look when that is dry. All right, so you have the choice. You can apply it directly and use it as a marker, or you can use your palette and use it as a watercolor. So, but if you're using a watercolor, then I guess you don't have a choice. You cannot use the marker, or you can use another marker. I mean, really, that's always an option. So now I'm going to fill this empty space on the side and just start adding my florals in here. What you want to do in this part right here is you want to space them out. Okay, so make sure that you space out your florals because we're going to use 2 colors for our flowers. And then maybe play around with your florals as well. Maybe one has 6 petals, maybe some has they only have 4. So it will give you a variation as well. So everything is not looking just exactly the same. Maybe some petals are shorter. Some flowers will have short petals. Some will have long and skinny petals. It was so beautiful. Actually, we were on the road last 2 days, and there's so many wild flowers. And they're so pretty. There's like bright yellows, there's some purple, and some with pink, light pink, darker pink. It's just beautiful. Nature is so beautiful. And that's also the reason why I want you to kind of give some variation when it comes to your flowers, just because what's going to happen is it's going to feel like nature. You know, everything is so unique. Nothing is really exact same, kind of like you and I. So this one, I'm going to make it short, kind of like that. Kind of looks like butterfly too. So see how, notice how I'm spacing them out. Not overthinking it though, just kind of like playing around. Maybe some are overhanging on the side, you know, like this, like how that one petal is like on that side. I'll create that one too, maybe just like that. Play around with this one also. There. Oh, notice how really light this one with the water now that it's dry. See the difference? See, that was a fun experiment. See, that one is much lighter. Not significantly lighter, but still lighter than the one applied directly here onto our paper. Okay. Just like that. Okay, I think I'm gonna add my orange now. I think I'm gonna make the orange flowers only with how many petals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some is 5, some is 6. I'm so inconsistently special. Okay, I'll make this one longer and skinnier, like this maybe. And with more petals, just to have some variation like that. See, long, it kind of looks like this one. I don't know about me. We'll just probably make some much bigger. Maybe that's it. Play around with the shape, play around with spacing, play around with the size. Maybe some are larger than the others. And this is what I love about art. I love easy art. I love it when it serves a purpose of relaxing me. You know, that's the reason why I'm doing art, is because I am doing it for relaxation. But when it becomes a frustration, then we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Make sure that you're having fun. It's all in that process. And also maybe this one doesn't turn out exactly as what you hoped for, but the more you practice with it, the more you get the hang of it. What do you guys think of this color palette? I don't know why it's so bright in the camera, but in real life, it's just slightly muted, not as bright as what you see in the camera. I think the brown really balanced it out. What you need to learn about color palette and creating a color palette is that what happens is that when you use too much colors, and it's okay too. Again, it's one of those things where don't listen just because, you know, there's a color theory and all that. You know what? Sometimes you just have to do what you want to do. But what happens is that I noticed this because I love color so much. So sometimes I have the tendency to overuse color, especially when it comes to my illustrations. I want to use everything, you know, if there's like if all the colors in the rainbow, I want to use all of it. But what happens is that it becomes so overwhelming sometimes when you look at an illustration. So I want you to go look at many different types of illustration on Pinterest and notice that what happens is when there's a specific color palette is it becomes cohesive. It becomes you're creating a unity. No, that's not the word. I can't find the word. You're creating, I'll think about it. It's part of old age. I can't think of it right now. Now, what happens is that you're really creating a harmony. That's the word, a harmony. So harmony, there's a harmony in your illustration. So it's not just, you know, like a puke of all colors. So there's harmony. That's why I'm learning to stick to a color palette. As much as I want to use, you know, many different type of colors in here, I'm going to stick to a color palette. Okay, I think I've spaced them out evenly. Now what I want to do with the oranges that I created, I'm going to use the same pink color and I'm going to add a dot in the middle or the stamen of the flower, like that. That. And why am I adding it to the pink? And play around with the stamen or the dot in the middle, because this will tell your audience which direction your flower is kind of like facing. So if I put this one leaning to the left, then it tells my eye that this flower is actually leaning to this one. I'll try with this one and I'll lean it to the right. See, it tells my eye that this one is leaning more to this direction, right? So play around with the direction or just place it in the middle, whichever, but I think that helps a lot too. It just kind of gives you an idea of, oh, I didn't know that. That's a perspective. Now, the same brown color that we use, I'm going to add this to the pink flowers. Okay, so instead of just one solid circle or oval, I'm going to create dots. And because I'm using the bullet tip, it's much easier to do this. So I'm just going to create dots like right in the middle. Let's see if you can see this one better. So just small, tiny dots, just right in the middle. Okay, this one too. Just little tiny dots. Just like that. This one as well. This one also. Like that. And I love it when a product is versatile like this, because we've seen it, we use it like a watercolor. Now we're really utilizing it as a marker. It's always fun. Just like that. All right. Now we have two other colors to introduce to in our project. So we have Earth Green 172. I think with this one, I don't want to use the direct color. I don't want to use this as a marker. So I'm just going to apply it here in my dish. It's squeaky. Super squeaky. And then I'll get my spray. Just spray that. Now here's where you can play again and use different sizes. Play around with the shape and the direction of your leaves. I always start with that line, diagonal line. It really does help me with the direction where my leaves are going. just like that. We'll do the same thing here. I'm not going to try and be super careful here. I think with the pink one, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to add long leaves, but just 2 in each direction. Right. And I'm not being very good at working from the top to the bottom. Sometimes I'm not a very good student. Here we go. Sometimes I get too excited. All right, so add it there. This one will have. And don't worry if you feel like you have a lot more white space in there, because we still have our gold marker. So we can always fill it up with more embellishments on the side. And this is my favorite part, honestly. Aside from the lettering, I love adding little bits of embellishments like this, adding some shapes, adding some maybe stars, heart, so you don't have to draw flowers when you want to add a bit more, some embellishing on your page. You can use some shapes, some simple shapes, like maybe imperfect dots, some asterisk. I love adding that, some stars, diamonds, many different types of shapes. And I think we're going to do that with some gold marker. We'll add maybe some asterisk here and there to fill more space, more of the white space. You also don't want to add too much as well, that you're going to take out the focus, that focal, the point from your quote, because I want the quote to be the main focal point in here. So we don't want to add too much. Also, what happens is that it becomes too busy, and that you lose which part of this illustration is the main subject or the main focal point. So just be careful when adding some embellishments too, because it is so fun that personally speaking, I have the tendency to go overboard with that. So just be mindful of that as well. I'm gonna add some in here, a little bit like that. There. I believe that next month we're going to be creating some handwriting. We're going to have a handwriting class. And so ways to improve your handwriting. Take note, it's not a hand lettering, but it's handwriting. So I think it's important to understand the basic of, handwriting also, because it leads to more ideas and hone your skills when it comes to hand lettering. I think it goes hand in hand, honestly. Oops, made this one different. Whoa, Lay, that is like big leaves. Again, that is when I feel like, oh, I got this. So kind of like not being careful anymore. That's where I make mistakes. So just take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Enjoy that process. Just like that. I feel like I use more of this earth green than the brown when there's so little of the green, right? Because I feel like I need a little bit more already. Maybe I can stretch it. Add a little bit more water in here. because I can still see some of the pigments there. Oop, it's just too light now. All right, I'll add a little bit more. Like that. There. There. So to all the mommies in here, are you guys celebrating? We usually just really, sometimes I cook, sometimes we go eat out. It just depends. It's been raining a lot, so I'm not sure if it's going to be raining a whole lot this weekend also. I guess it depends on the weather, but I hope you celebrate you. It doesn't matter if, they're going to be, they're planning to do something, but I hope you're planning on doing something for yourself. Maybe go shopping, go to the spa, nails done. I will eat some donuts. That would be my treat. Donuts. I love donuts. Okay, for the gold, we have gold 250. This is PITT Artist Pen from Faber-Castell. We have different colors of metallic markers also. So we have gold, we have silver, we have copper. We actually have like a mint green and then a blue and a lavender color as well. So we'll probably create something with some metallic markers soon. So I'll work on a class. So like what I said, we can add some extra shapes in here, maybe blobs if you like, but I think I'm going to stick to something simple. I'm going to make some asterisk in here. So like with what we did with the flowers, we kind of spaced them out. And so that's what I'll do. Play around with the size of the asterisk that I'm going to add as well. So maybe some are like much smaller than the rest. Some are larger. Like that. I wish I can celebrate with my mom, but she's in the Philippines. So I'll make sure to send my sibling something so we can celebrate her. To all the mummies, if your moms are still around, make sure you celebrate them. And I think using the same gold one, I'm going to add some dots in here. So just small, tiny dots. Because I feel like we have still some extra white space in here that we need to fill. So just adding some small dots. It's looking so much better already. Now with the lettering, we can choose to add some drop shadow to this one. And we have a class next month all about adding some drop shadow. So to your hand lettering specifically, we're going to explore that, learn some different techniques, how you can add some drop shadow to your lettering. That's going to be fun. It's so pretty. I don't know. I really like it just the way it is. Do I add? Okay, I think I want to add something to the word the. Do I? I don't know. I don't think so. I cannot decide. It's so pretty already. I don't want to touch it, but yeah. Oh, Richard, thank you so much. You're so kind. Thank you. Yes, to all the mommies in here, we celebrate you. We salute you. If you have a teenager, sending you lots of love, Mom. I have one graduated and I have two more here at home. So guess what? Love. Love is the answer. No matter what the question is, love. Love is the answer. But yeah, this was so much fun. I hope that it wasn't so overwhelming because I know when it comes to brush lettering or hand lettering, I always fear that you might not gotten a lot of inspiration just because it can be a little tricky, using the brush pens, using the round brush, the watercolor brushes, but it's so fun. What I want you to do is I don't want you to feel scared to really play around with the tools because what's the worst thing that can happen is start from the very beginning, right? Totally scratch what you're working on and then start again. Is that so bad? No, it's not. So what you can do is just keep trying, keep practicing, play around with your tools, get to know the tools, different type of size of brushes. Maybe you're using too small of a brush, or maybe you're using a too large of a brush, so and that's it. Play around, explore. Don't be afraid. Be gentle on yourself. Be kind, and enjoy. Have lots of fun. That's the thing that matters the most. Is we're doing this because we are having fun. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. I wish you all a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Please don't forget to sign up for our next class for next Wednesday. If you created anything along with us today, make sure to tag Make It With Michaels. Use that hashtag Make It With Michaels. And also, I think there's a new one. I really need to update this graphic. Learn with Michaels. So, and also make sure to follow us on social media at Faber-Castell. I would also love it if you would follow me at Mommy Lay because I'd love to stay in touch. If you have any questions that we may have not I may have failed to answer today. So make sure to just kind of like send me a message there and say, hey, Lay, if you have any question, as long as it doesn't have anything to do with math, I am going to entertain that. Have a beautiful evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. Until next time, stay creative and stay happy. Mwah. Thank you all. Bye, everyone.